Hi guys, and in today's video I'm going to look into the paid system of NGS and see whether I think NGS is actually worth playing as a free-to-play game. Hi guys, and welcome back to another video for PSO2 New Genesis. In today's video what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the current state of NGS and whether I think it's worth playing as a free-to-play player. So, as you may or may not know, NGS itself is a free-to-play game. You can download it from Steam or whatever platform you want to play on. It's totally free to install. But as with most free-to-play games, there is microtransaction elements to the game. And what I want to do is I want to go through those microtransactions and just let you know if I actually think they're actually worth going for. And overall, if the game's worth considering if you just want to play it completely free. So just for some full disclosure, I am currently using a few paid things in the game. So I currently use the premium set, which I'll go into shortly. That is purely because I'm an NGS creator and SEGA provide me with a code for that. So just full disclosure for that. But I will cover the premium set and let you know whether I think it's worth buying as a regular player. So what we'll do is we'll look into some of the different areas that NGS employs microtransactions, and I'll let you know what I think of them and whether they're actually worth spending your money on. So the first one we'll cover, since we mentioned it a little bit in the intro, is the premium set. Now, premium set is, the best way I can describe it is, it's essentially like a subscription for NGS, and it gives you a few benefits in exchange for you buying a premium ticket every month. So if you don't know where to get this from, all you need to do is just go to your main menu and go to your shop, and you go to the AC and SG shop, and then go into the AC shop. AC is Ask Cash. And you'll have here, there is several different premium tickets. There is a special one you can get here, which is much cheaper, but you can only get this once. It's like a limited time offer. The other premium tickets are here, so you can get a 30-day, 60-day, or 90-day ticket, which costs $1,300, $2,300, or $3,300 Ask Cash, respectively. There is a little bit of a savings to be made if you buy one of the longer premium sets, so there is a little bit of a discount that you get from buying the 90-day ones. It's entirely up to you which one you want to go with if you want to go for premium set. What it's probably worth doing for premium set is looking at the roadmap for the game and look at what's coming for the next few months. If you think there's plenty of content that you want to stick around in NGS for, then maybe go for the 90-day one just to save you some money in the long term. But if you're not sure, or if you think you might be dipping in and out of NGS, maybe just go for a 30-day ticket. In regards to what the premium set actually gives you, there's a few things it does. So the first thing it does is it gives you access to your personal shop to sell things. Now, any player, free or paid, can browse the personal shops and buy things from other players. But if you want to sell things to other players, you have to either use a premium set or use a shop ticket. Now, there are ways of getting shop tickets in the game. They're sometimes given out as little rewards, and they're quite often given out in the mission passes as well. Those are normally only 3-day passes though, so what you would do for those is collect together everything that you want to sell, throw it in your shop while you've got a 3-day ticket active, and sell everything that way. You can still make money from your shop after this the shop thing expires, as far as I'm aware. It's just that you can't add more to your shop once it expires. I may be wrong on that, so maybe check that though. So for premium set, that's probably the main benefit of it, having the ability to sell things to other players, particularly if you are also going to be buying Ask Cash for the scratches, because a lot of the things in the scratches you can sell for decent money as well. If you're a free-to-play player, would I consider ending that and going for premium just for the shop? If you're not considering using any of the scratches, I probably wouldn't bother with the premium set for the shop at least, because a lot of the things that you get in the game are not really going to be worth much. There are some exceptions, so some of the capsules that you get from Jewel Quest, for example, can be worth a bit to sell. Particularly if you can make things like Gland Gigas Mast, they can be worth quite a bit. Also, if you get lucky and get some particularly good drops, so any 10 stars with really good fixer, or if you get really lucky and get one of the 11 stars weapons, you can sell those for a fortune in your shop as well. So in that instance, then that's maybe when you would use a 3-day ticket. Otherwise though, if you're not using the scratches, the shop element probably isn't too valuable. Next up, you also get access to premium storage. So if I go back to my storage here, what you can see is if I go into different storages, every player has a default storage, which gives you 200 item slots, which is okay, but what you'll find is that in NGS there are so many different items that you'll fill this really, really quickly. Next up, you have a character storage, which is for each individual character. So this is only accessible for the character that you're playing. This is 300 slots. There's temporary storage, which is for things you get from quests. But this is what you get with premium. You get a premium storage. Now this is 400 slots. This honestly is very, very useful. Just because of the amount of items that are in NGS, the amount of things that you get. Particularly things like materials. Now, there is a specific material storage you can get as well, but that is also generally a paid item as well. So if you're not wanting to buy that, you're probably going to be putting your materials in another storage, whether it's your default storage or your premium. Premium, because it gives you 400 slots that are available across all your characters, it is really, really useful for this. And this to me is probably the main benefit of having premium. So it doesn't really explain in the description of this, but there is actually some other little benefits as well. So you also get extra little boosts for having premium. So for example, I believe the region mag boosts are slightly amplified if you get premium. There is also the mission pass as well. So if we go to the mission pass here, mission pass runs typically about every month, and basically, as you do different quests and complete different tasks, you'll unlock the different tiers of the mission pass. But what you can see is there's 2 tiers of mission pass. There is the regular purple tier, and there is the gold tier. Now the gold tier you can unlock separately, so you can do this by, I believe it costs star gems to unlock it. However, the other way of unlocking this is to use premium. So if you use premium, you'll automatically unlock the gold tier, which, as you can probably see from this, you get most of the decent rewards from the gold tier. So again, premium is quite important for this, but just to stress, you can get this separately as well if you want to. Do I think premium is worth it overall? I would say that if you think you're going to be playing more than a couple of times a week, and you think you're going to be around for most of the month at least, then maybe it is worth buying premium. For longer term premiums, so 60-day or 90-day premium tickets, it really does depend on how much you are committed to NGS. So if you know you're going to be playing for a long time, regardless of what the content is, then I would probably go for a 90-day premium ticket. It does cost a little bit, but I think honestly it probably is worth going for because of the bonuses you get, particularly for that storage. However, just be aware that if you're not sure that you're going to be sticking around with NGS for a long time, maybe don't go for the 90-day one and just go for a 30-day, just so you're not wasting excess money. So overall, I do feel like premium is worth it. It would be nice if it had a couple more boosts, but I do feel like it's generally worth it. However, that is not the only monetization in NGS. There is quite a few other things as well. So let's talk about those as well. So the next area that NGS monetizes is Arts Cash. So Arts Cash we've touched on briefly because you need Arts Cash to buy premium. However, there are other uses for Arts Cash as well. So again, for Arts Cash, if you want to buy some, you just go to the shop, go to AC and SG shop, and there is another option here that says purchase, well, there's charge AC, and there's also purchase SG as well, which we'll come on to. So in the AC shop, you can see there's several things. We've already looked at the premium tickets, but there is also various other things in here. Generally, I find that most of this isn't worth buying. There is a couple of things you might want to consider. So the beginner's Rappy pack isn't too bad. It does give you quite a few items early on. It also gives you some things like the Rappy Idol and the Glide Rappy as well, and a stamp as well. So this isn't too bad, particularly early on. A lot of the stuff in it isn't really worth much, so it gives you Monetite, Dualamite, and Trinite, which honestly are not really that useful later on. You find loads of them. So you're mainly going to get this probably for the Idol and the Glide, and the Rappy suit as well. Aside from that, is there anything else in the AC shop I would actually consider buying? I generally don't think any of these tickets are worth buying, honestly. So there is things like the build parts for the creative space. I can't really advise you on this because this is ultimately going to depend on what you want to do with your creative space and what theme you want to go for. If you want a lot of animals in your creative space, then maybe you want to buy the animal parts build pack. If you really like Sonic the Hedgehog, there is a Sonic pack. It's just going to depend on what you want in your creative space. So next up, there are a few packs that feature like a variety of different items, a little bit like the Rappy pack. So we have things like the Alio Naja Renewal pack. This gives you outfits, it gives you hairstyles, various accessories. These are quite good if you want to get a decent amount of things for your character. A lot of this stuff you can buy through player shops as well though, and bear in mind, like I said earlier in the video, you can buy stuff in player shop without premium, just you can't sell things. So what I would do for these is I would probably search for the items in the player shop first and just see how much they're worth. If they're not particularly expensive, I would just buy them from the player shop. So if they are pretty cheap, I would just consider just buying them from the player shop. If they're expensive though, maybe it's worth buying the Arts Cash ones, and then you can either use them yourself or sell them in your player shop. Again, just a reminder though that you would need the shop ticket to be able to sell them. You can buy Scape dolls. These are, in my opinion, not worth it at all. The reason for this is because you can get half dolls with things like the mission pass anywhere. Half dolls revive you with 50% HP. Scape dolls revive you with 100% HP. Honestly, with the way it works in NGS, you honestly don't die that often anywhere. And even when you do die, it doesn't really matter if you get revived on half health or full health. So I would personally just go for the half dolls that you get for free anywhere and just ignore these. There's extra rentals for the creative space. This again is going to depend on how much you want to use creative space. Some people are really, really into it, some people are not. So this is going to vary a lot for each person. And there is also things like extended storage as well. So you can buy extra storage. With this, it does give you quite a large storage. So each of these gives you 500, which is really, really nice. But the problem with these is that these are temporary storage. So they only last 30 days. So you have to essentially pay 500 Arts Cash every 30 days. Which, is pretty, is pretty expensive overall. There is also 90-day tickets for these as well. Oddly, there's no 60-day tickets, which is really odd. So these are quite expensive because you will have to be spending 500 Arts Cash every 30 days or 1200 every 90 days. It's a lot to ask for a little bit of extra storage, and I kind of feel that with the premium storage, you generally have just about enough storage, so you might not need to get these. There is also things like extended character inventory. Again, I don't feel like these are worth it because they're 350 AC each and they only give you 10 inventory slots. It does allow you to go up to 200 slots per character, but I've never needed to have anywhere near that amount of slots on my character. Realistically, if you're using the auto sort items in the game, you should be automatically filtering out the junk anywhere, and the stuff that's worth keeping will never add up to 200 slots usually, so I don't really feel like these are worth it. You can also add extra sub palettes. Again, I don't really see the necessity for this. I've never needed to use more than the standard amount of sub palettes. You can also expand your character storage as well. Now this, I believe this is a permanent increase. I don't think this is a temporary one. But it only increases it by 50 and it costs 800 Arts Cash, which to me is very, very excessive. So I would probably just ignore these. There is also an NGS story progress ticket, and this basically allows your character to get to the latest chapter of story. I would not buy this either, because 900 Arts Cash to get you to the latest chapter. I don't think this will automatically update either as well, so when a new chapter gets added, I think you'll still have to do it, or potentially buy another NGS story ticket. So I probably wouldn't bother with these either. So a lot of stuff in the AC shop honestly isn't worth getting, in my opinion. The main thing that you use AC for is for buying premium, and also for hitting the scratches as well. So with that, let's have a look at the scratches. So scratches are a system in NGS which is essentially the gacha part of the game. It's how most of the new outfits, hairstyles, various other things are added to the game. Pretty much everything from AC scratches you can buy from player shops as well. So don't feel you have to spend money on these gachas to get the outfits. It's just that things like hairstyles in particular can be extremely expensive. Also things like cast parts and certain outfits are really, really expensive in player shops usually. So you will probably have to farm Mazetta quite a bit to get the money to buy things if you're not going to buy them through the actual gacha itself. Now the gachas, the way they work is you can pull one item for 200 AC or 12 items for 2200. I would probably just use the 2200s whenever you've got 2200 AC and pull that way. I tend to find that using the AC scratches is typically used best in conjunction with your player shop, because what you can do is you can do a 12 pull, use the items that you want to use, and then everything else just sell in your player shop, and at least you can make a decent amount of Mazetta back from that. And then that Mazetta you can then put into buying things that you didn't get from the scratch pulls. So it's quite a useful way of doing that. And yes, that does involve you buying AC and buying the shop ticket as well. Realistically, if you do want to play fully free to play, you can just completely ignore the scratch ticket and just buy things from player shops anywhere. So as an example, I'll try and show you that actually. So for this new scratch, the Atelier scratch, let's say that we want to buy Rise's outfit. So you can see here, it's like a 1.68% chance of pulling it. However, if I don't want to do that, let's say I do want to play fully free to play, but I'm a big Riser fan and I want Rise's outfit. If you go to the player shop, and again, you do not need premium or anything for this. That is a very, very big cat. I search for Riser here. So I've got Riser's outfit here. Search for it, and you can see it is selling in the player shops. Now it is 7 million Mazetta, which is very expensive. But it is there, and you could buy it if you had the Mazetta for it. So there are options. I don't feel you have to funnel money into the Arts Cash Scratch to get the gear from it. NGS is quite forgiving in that sense, so it doesn't expect you to funnel money into the AC Scratch. There is ways around it if you don't want to put money into them. You can just buy things from Player Shop instead and go that way. But you will need quite a lot of Mazetta to do that if you're going to be buying a lot of things from the shop. And unfortunately, the best way of getting money in NGS, I find, is by selling things from the AC Scratch. You can do things like selling, capsules that you create from the dual quests, and that will make decent money as well. You can also farm PSE bursts, and that will give you really decent money income as well. But typically, the fastest way of getting money in NGS is usually by selling things in your shop. I mean, just to reiterate that, it is going to show you that huge cat again, but if I go to Run Personal Shop here and go to View Sales, if you look at the things I've sold here. So I did sell some Wingard machine guns recently, which I mentioned earlier, the 11 stars, and they do sell for an absolute fortune. But apart from this, you can see pretty much everything I'm selling is stuff from scratches. And you can see it does give you a very steady income. And some things will sell for a really, really, decent amount as well. So things like, Outers, they sold for over 2 million. And this emote sold for 1.6 million. So you can make a really, really respectable amount of Mazetta from selling things from the AC Scratch. So just bear that in mind, that it is a fast way of getting money, but there are other ways you can get a decent money income as well. So next up, let's also talk about the other currency that's used a lot in NGS, which is Star Gems. So Star Gems, again, you access them through the AC and SG shop. And we've got the SG shop here. And to actually get SG, there's a few ways of getting it. So quite often you will get given it through rewards, things like that. So there are several ways of getting it in-game. Also, at the moment, at the time of recording this, there is actually a world trial on as well. And the world trials for Stellar Grace actually gives you Star Gems as well. That only runs now and again, though. You can also buy Star Gems. So again, to do that, you go to purchase SG. And the way this works is you basically buy Arcs Cash and then exchange the Arcs Cash for SG. Now, personally, I would not recommend doing this because the exchange rate, I feel, is absolutely garbage. So let's go into the scratches, and let's go to the SG scratches, for example. So this is one of the SG scratches, and you can see that to pull it 10 times, you need 500 SG. So if I wanted to buy 500 SG, you can see here that the way it's done, I really don't like how this is done, to be honest. So to get 500 SG, you can only buy them in bundles of either 20, 120, 480, 1280, or 2800. Now, these do give you a little bonus as well, but the bonus is factored in. So Although it says 480 star gems here with bonus, it is 380 plus 100 bonus. So obviously with this 480 here, that's not enough to do 10 pull. You would need then to buy another 20 star gems to get that 500. So it makes you just spend a little bit more Arx cash to get the 500 for the pull, which I don't really like. So you can see here it would cost 1900 Arx cash plus 100 to get that 500 SG that you need. So you're basically spending 2000 Arx cash to get one 10 pull. Now, if you bear in mind that when you pull an Arx cash scratch, that is 2200 AC, but it does give you a 12 pull. So it's not much more AC, and it gives you 2 extra items, which you then can sell. Star Gem Scratch is only 10 items, and you can't sell anything from it. So all Star Gem Scratch items are not tradable. And because of that, it makes them really not worth putting money into. So for Star Gem Scratches, I would personally just use the Star Gems that you get in-game. I would personally not recommend buying Star Gems for the most part. I just don't feel like it's worth doing. So for the Star Gem Scratch, we do have them just in the scratch tickets here. At the moment, we've got 3. And you can see here, there's 500 AC to pull 10 times. What you can see here, when you look at the prize list here, it says on all of these items here, it says not tradable in personal shop. So that means you can't make any money from these at all. The best thing you can do with Star Gem items is to turn them into SG badges. And then you can exchange SG badges for other things later. But generally, I would not put any money into SG. So those are probably the main areas that NGS is monetized. Now, do I feel like you can play this as a free-to-play player without putting any money in? I feel like, honestly, I feel like the experience is a lot better if you at least buy premium. But I do also feel the game is totally playable free. You will have to put more work in, so you will have to grind more and farm more Mazetta to be able to afford things in the play shops, because you won't have that money coming in from the Arx cash scratches. You will also be more limited on storage as well, so you won't have that 400 premium storage, so you will have to be a lot more picky about what you decide to keep in your storage. But ultimately, I do feel like you could play this for free and get away with it. I feel like NGS is the kind of game at the moment where you can play it for free, and then every now and again you can just put a bit of money in if you want to. So overall, I do feel like that if you are considering trying NGS but you're not really a fan of the microtransactions, I do feel like you can get a reasonable experience out of the game without putting money into it. But as with all these games, you will get a better experience if you do put at least some in. Ultimately, it is up to you if you want to go ahead and spend any money on the game. For me, personally, if you ask me one thing to spend money on in NGS, I would probably just go for the premium set. Generally, I still feel like premium is worth going for, just for the ability to have that player shop active. But as I mentioned earlier, it will depend on how much you get that's worth selling. So are you going to be putting a lot of time into spamming dual quests to make capsules to sell? You know, are you going to be also using Arx cash scratches to sell AC items? It will depend a lot on whether you get items that is worth selling in your player shop to make that money, and that's a decision that you need to make. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I do feel like generally the premium set is probably worth going for. If you don't want to spend more than that, I think you can be totally fine in the game. The premium set will give you more than enough bonuses to make things comfortable for you. But really, even if you don't want to go for premium, I do feel like NGS is totally playable for free. Just as I've said, bear in mind that you will have to put some more work in and make some decisions on what you want to keep. So I hope that's been relatively useful. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking, subscribing, or joining as a member. We do 2 videos a week, and we normally stream on the weekends as well, and we normally play one of the Phantasy Star games, quite often one of the older ones. But yeah, hope that's been useful, and I'll see you guys in the next video.